You know, right now, in this very moment, there's something absolutely magnificent happening in your life, even if you can't see it yet. There's a divine intelligence at work, orchestrating events, arranging circumstances, moving people and situations into perfect alignment for your highest good. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to force it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to worry yourself sick trying to make it all happen on your schedule. What I want to talk with you about today is one of the most liberating truths you'll ever understand. It's a truth that, when you really get it, when you really allow it to sink into the depths of your being, will free you from so much unnecessary suffering, so much anxiety, so much frustration. This truth is simple. God's timing is perfect. Always has been, always will be. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You're thinking, but you don't understand my situation. I've been waiting for years. I've been praying. I've been doing everything right, and nothing is happening. And I want you to know that I hear you. I understand that feeling of impatience, that gnawing sense that life is passing you by, that your dreams are slipping through your fingers like sand. But what if I told you that your waiting isn't wasted time? What if I told you that every single moment of delay has been preparing you, shaping you, molding you into the person who can handle the blessing when it arrives? See, we live in a world that's obsessed with instant gratification. We want our coffee instantly, our internet instantly, our success instantly. We've been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen right away, it means we're doing something wrong, or worse, that we're being punished. But that's not how the universe works. That's not how God works. The divine intelligence that created the stars, that orchestrates the seasons, that causes a tiny seed to become a mighty oak tree, this same intelligence is working in your life right now. And it doesn't operate on your clock. It operates on perfect timing. Think about nature for a moment. When a farmer plants a seed, does he dig it up the next day to check if it's growing? Does he stand over it, screaming at it to hurry up and become a plant? Of course not. He understands that there's a process. There's a season for planting, a season for watering, a season for waiting, and a season for harvest. He trusts the process. He trusts the timing. And because he trusts, he receives the harvest. Your life works the same way. Everything you desire, everything you've been praying for, everything that's meant for you is like a seed that's been planted in the invisible realm. It's growing, it's developing, it's getting ready to break through the surface and show itself to you. But it needs time. It needs the right conditions. It needs you to trust the process instead of digging it up with your doubt, your fear, your impatience. I want you to understand something crucial here. When you don't trust God's timing, what you're really saying is, I know better than the universe. My limited human perspective is superior to the infinite wisdom that created everything. Now, when you put it that way, it sounds pretty ridiculous, doesn't it? Yet that's exactly what we do every time we stress, every time we worry, every time we try to force things to happen before their appointed time. Let me tell you what happens when you try to force things. You end up with premature manifestations. You end up with blessings that you're not ready to handle. You end up with relationships that fall apart because you rushed into them. You end up with opportunities that overwhelm you because you weren't prepared. You end up with success that destroys you because you didn't build the character to sustain it. God's delays are not God's denials. Let me say that again because it's so important. God's delays are not God's denials. Every delay in your life is actually divine protection. It's God saying, I love you too much to give you what you want right now. I love you enough to make you wait until you're truly ready. I love you enough to prepare you properly so that when you receive your blessing, you can keep it, you can appreciate it, you can steward it wisely. You see, most people pray for things without understanding the responsibility that comes with those things. They pray for $1 million without having the character to handle wealth. They pray for a relationship without having healed from their past relationships. They pray for a business without having learned the lessons they need to know. And God, in His infinite wisdom, says, not yet. I'm working on you first. I'm developing you. I'm strengthening you. I'm preparing you. This is where faith comes in. Faith isn't believing that God will give you what you want when you want it. That's not faith. That's entitlement. Real faith is trusting that God will give you what you need when you need it, and that His timing is always perfect, even when you can't understand it, even when it doesn't make sense to your logical mind, even when everyone around you is telling you to give up. I've learned something profound in my years on this planet. The things that came to me too early in my life, I lost. The things that came to me in perfect timing, I kept. The relationships I forced, they fell apart. The relationships that unfolded naturally in divine timing, they flourished. The opportunities I chased desperately, they exhausted me. The opportunities that came to me when I was ready, they elevated me. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop trying to control the timing, when you release your grip and surrender to the flow of life, things start happening faster. Not because you're forcing them, but because you're finally in alignment. You're finally cooperating with the universe instead of fighting against it. You're finally allowing instead of resisting. Surrendering to divine timing doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean sitting on your couch doing nothing, waiting for blessings to fall from the sky. No, it means you take inspired action. You do your part. You plant your seeds, you water them, you tend to your garden. But you don't dig up your seeds every day to check on them. You don't stand in your garden screaming at your plants to grow faster. You trust. You have faith. You know that the harvest is coming. What I've found is that most of our suffering comes from our attachment to outcomes and timelines. We decide that we need to be married by 30, that we need to be millionaires by 40, that we need to achieve this or that by a certain date. And then when life doesn't cooperate with our rigid plan, we fall apart. We think something's wrong. We think we're failures. We think God has forgotten about us. But God hasn't forgotten about you. God never forgets. Every hair on your head is numbered. Every tear you've cried has been collected. Every prayer you've prayed has been heard. And God is working behind the scenes, moving pieces on the chessboard of your life, arranging everything in perfect order so that when the time is right, everything will come together in a way that exceeds your wildest expectations. The problem is, we're looking at our lives from a very limited perspective. We're like ants on the ground, trying to understand the whole landscape. But God is seeing everything from above. God sees the big picture. God sees the beginning and the end. God sees the connections we can't see. God knows the people we need to meet, the lessons we need to learn, the character we need to develop before we're ready for our next level. And sometimes the delay is about timing for other people, not just you. Maybe the person you're supposed to marry isn't ready yet. Maybe they're still healing from their past, still learning their lessons, still becoming the person they need to be so that when you two come together, it's magical instead of toxic. Maybe the business partner you need is still being prepared. Maybe the opportunity you're waiting for depends on circumstances that haven't aligned yet. You have to understand that you're not living in isolation. You're part of an intricate web of humanity. Your life is connected to thousands of other lives. And God is orchestrating all of it simultaneously. That's why the timing has to be perfect. It's not just about you being ready, it's about everything and everyone else being ready too. So what do you do while you're waiting? How do you maintain your sanity when it feels like everyone else is moving forward and you're standing still? First, you change your perspective on waiting. Waiting isn't wasted time. Waiting is preparation time. It's character building time. It's time to become the person who's ready for the blessing. Use this time to work on yourself. Read books that expand your mind. Develop skills that will serve you in your future. Heal from your past wounds. Deal with your issues. Face your fears. Build your faith. Strengthen your character. Every day that you're waiting is a day that you can use to prepare yourself so that when your moment comes, you're not just ready, you're overqualified. Second, practice gratitude for where you are right now. I know you want more. I know you have dreams and goals and desires. But you have to appreciate where you are right now, or you'll never enjoy where you're going. Gratitude is the secret to happiness. When you're grateful for what you have, the universe gives you more to be grateful for. When you're constantly complaining about what you don't have, you block your blessings. Look around your life right now. There are people who would trade places with you in a heartbeat. There are people praying for the things you take for granted. You have air in your lungs. You have eyes that can see. You have ears that can hear. You have another day to make a difference, to grow, to love, to be alive. That's not nothing. That's everything. Third, serve others while you're waiting. One of the fastest ways to receive your blessing is to be a blessing to someone else. When you take the focus off your problems and start helping other people with theirs, something magical happens. You shift your energy, you shift your vibration, you align yourself with the flow of giving and receiving that governs the universe. You want love? Give love. You want money? Give money. You want friendship? Be a friend. You want opportunities? Create opportunities for others. What you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. It's a spiritual law. It's the law of reciprocity. It's the law of sowing and reaping. You can't beat it. You can't bypass it. You have to work with it. Fourth, and this is crucial, stop comparing yourself to others. Stop looking at social media and thinking everyone else has their life figured out while you're still struggling. Stop measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20. Stop assuming that because someone else got their blessing, yours is delayed. God has a unique plan for your life. Your path is different from everyone else's path. Your timing is different from everyone else's timing. What's meant for you will come to you. What's meant for them has nothing to do with you. Their blessing doesn't block your blessing. There's enough for everyone. The universe is abundant. God is abundant. Stop living from a mentality of scarcity and competition. Start living from a mentality of abundance and cooperation. I want to tell you something that might challenge you. Sometimes the very thing you're desperate for is the thing that's keeping it away. Your desperation, your neediness, your anxiety about it, that energy is actually repelling what you want. It's like trying to grasp water. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you relax your hand, when you open your palm, the water flows to you naturally. This is the art of detachment. You remain committed to your desires, but you detach from the outcome and the timing. You say, I want this, but I don't need it to be happy right now. I desire this, but I'm not going to fall apart if it doesn't happen on my schedule. I'm working toward this, but I trust that if it doesn't happen, something better is coming. This kind of detachment isn't indifference. It's not giving up. It's the opposite. It's the highest form of faith. It's saying, I trust the process so much that I don't need to control it. I trust God so much that I don't need to see the entire staircase before I take the first step. I trust that I'm being guided, that I'm being protected, that everything is working out for my highest good, even when I can't see how. And when you live from this place of trust, when you really surrender to divine timing, your whole life changes. The stress falls away. The anxiety disappears. You stop living in the future, always waiting for the next thing to make you happy. You start living in the present, finding joy in each moment, knowing that each moment is exactly where you're supposed to be. You start seeing the gifts in your current situation. You start recognizing that this period of waiting, this season of preparation, is actually one of the most important times of your life. You're learning lessons now that you'll need later. You're developing strength now that you'll need later. You're building faith now that will sustain you later. Think about the caterpillar in the cocoon. If someone came along and cut open the cocoon to help the butterfly, they would actually kill it. The butterfly needs the struggle of breaking through the cocoon. That struggle is what makes its wings strong enough to fly. The waiting period isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's strengthening you for flight. And here's what's beautiful. When things finally happen in divine timing, they happen in ways you never could have orchestrated yourself. They happen better than you planned. They happen bigger than you imagined. They happen in ways that make you look back and say, thank God it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen. Thank God it happened when God wanted it to happen. You'll meet the right person, and you'll understand why it never worked out with anyone else. You'll get the right opportunity, and you'll understand why every door closed before. You'll have the breakthrough, and you'll understand why you had to go through the breakdown. Everything will make sense. All the pieces will fit together. All the dots will connect. And you'll see that there was a divine plan all along, but you have to trust. You have to have faith. You have to believe that God is in control, even when your life feels out of control. You have to believe that there's a purpose for your pain, a reason for your waiting, a meaning for your struggle. And I want to tell you something about control. We think we want control. We think if we could just control everything, we'd be happy. But that's not true. Control is exhausting. Control is a burden. Control is trying to play God, and you weren't designed for that role. You were designed to be co-creator with God, not to replace God. When you try to control everything, you cut yourself off from the infinite possibilities of the universe. You limit yourself to what your small human mind can conceive. But when you surrender control, when you trust divine timing, you open yourself up to miracles, to synchronicities, to divine interventions that go beyond anything you could have planned. Some of the best things in my life happened when I stopped trying to make them happen. Some of the greatest opportunities came when I stopped chasing and started allowing. Some of the most beautiful relationships formed when I stopped looking and started being. That's the power of surrender. That's the power of trust. That's the power of aligning yourself with divine timing. And look, I understand that this isn't easy. I understand that when you're in the middle of the waiting, when you're in the valley, when you can't see the mountaintop, it's hard to trust. It's hard to believe. It's hard to keep the faith. But that's exactly when faith is most important. Faith isn't needed when you can see. Faith is needed when you can't see, but you believe anyway. You've got to understand that faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you choose to trust instead of worry, you're building your faith muscle. Every time you choose to believe instead of doubt, you're strengthening your faith muscle. Every time you choose to surrender instead of control, you're developing your faith muscle. And as your faith grows, your capacity to trust divine timing grows. You stop freaking out every time there's a delay. You stop falling apart every time something doesn't go according to your plan. You start having a peace that passes understanding. You start having a confidence that's not based on your circumstances but on your connection to something greater than yourself. This is what it means to walk by faith and not by sight. It means you don't need to see the whole path to take the next step. It means you don't need to understand everything to trust. It means you don't need to have all the answers to have peace. You simply need to know that God is in control, that God loves you, that God has a plan for your life, and that God's timing is perfect. Now, I want to address something that I know some of you are dealing with. You're thinking, but what if I've waited too long? What if I've missed my opportunity? What if it's too late for me? And I want to tell you with every fiber of my being, it's never too late. You're never too old. You haven't missed your chance. God doesn't have an expiration date on your dreams. Some of the greatest accomplishments in history were achieved by people who started late. Some of the most beautiful love stories began in the later chapters of life. Some of the most successful businesses were launched by people who had already failed multiple times. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your age doesn't determine your potential. Your circumstances don't determine your destiny. What determines your destiny is your willingness to trust, to believe, to keep going even when you can't see the evidence yet. What determines your destiny is your faith in divine timing, your trust that God is working everything out for your good, your belief that the best is yet to come. And I want you to know that right now, as you're hearing these words, something is shifting in your life, something is moving, something is changing. You might not see it with your physical eyes yet, but in the spiritual realm, in the invisible world where everything is created before it manifests, your blessing is being prepared, your breakthrough is being arranged, your miracle is on its way. Your job isn't to figure out how or when. Your job is to stay ready. Your job is to keep preparing. Your job is to maintain your faith. Your job is to trust the timing, because when the time is right, when everything is aligned, when you're truly ready, it's all going to come together in a way that's so perfect, so beautiful, so beyond what you imagined, that you'll fall to your knees in gratitude. You'll look back at this time of waiting, and you'll see it differently. You won't see it as wasted time. You'll see it as sacred time. You'll see it as the time when you grew the most, when you learned the most, when you became the person you needed to be to receive and keep your blessing. So I'm asking you today to make a decision. Decide right now that you're going to trust divine timing. Decide that you're going to stop fighting against the flow of life and start flowing with it. Decide that you're going to stop trying to control everything and start trusting that everything is being controlled by a power greater than yourself. This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you stop working. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you work with peace instead of anxiety. It means you try with faith instead of fear. It means you pursue your dreams with the confidence that divine timing will bring them to fruition at exactly the right moment. Every morning when you wake up, instead of asking, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" start asking, "What can I learn today? How can I grow today? How can I prepare today? How can I be a blessing today?" Shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. Shift your energy from lack to abundance. Shift your mindset from victim to victor. Because you're not a victim of bad timing, you're a beneficiary of perfect timing. Everything that's happened to you, everything that hasn't happened yet, It's all part of a divine plan that's far greater than you can comprehend. You're exactly where you need to be. You're learning exactly what you need to learn. You're becoming exactly who you need to become. And when your moment comes, and it will come, you're going to be so ready, you're going to be so prepared, you're going to be so qualified that success won't just find you, it won't be able to resist you. Your blessing won't just come to you, it'll come looking for you. But until then, trust the timing, trust the process, trust that God is in control, trust that delays are not denials, trust that setbacks are setups for comebacks, trust that every closed door is leading you to the right open door. Trust that every disappointment is an appointment with something better. Trust that every ending is making way for a new beginning. This is your time to build unshakable faith. This is your time to develop unwavering trust. This is your time to cultivate deep patience. These aren't just nice qualities to have. These are the foundations of a life that's truly blessed, truly peaceful, truly fulfilled. When you master the art of trusting divine timing, you master the art of living. You stop rushing through life, always chasing the next thing. You start savoring each moment, knowing that this moment matters, that this moment is preparing you for the next one. You stop living in constant stress and anxiety. You start living in peace and confidence, and people will notice. They'll ask you, how are you so calm when everything in your life is uncertain? How are you so peaceful when you don't have what you want yet? How are you so joyful when you're still waiting? And you'll smile and tell them, I've learned to trust God's timing. I've learned that I'm not in control, but I'm in the hands of someone who is. I've learned that my job is to be faithful, not to figure everything out. This is the secret to a blessed life. Not having everything you want when you want it, but trusting the one who knows when you need it. Not controlling every outcome, but surrendering to the one who's orchestrating all outcomes. Not living by your limited understanding, but walking by faith and infinite wisdom. So today, right now, release your grip. Let go of your timeline. Surrender your need to control. Stop fighting. Stop stressing. Stop worrying. Instead, breathe, trust, believe. Know that everything is working out. Know that you're being taken care of. Know that your blessing is on its way, and it's going to arrive at exactly the perfect moment. God's timing is perfect. It always has been. It always will be. And when you align yourself with that truth, when you build your life on that foundation, when you make that your daily practice, your life transforms. Not overnight, but in divine timing. Not according to your schedule, but according to a perfect plan. Trust the timing of your life. Trust that you're being guided. Trust that you're being protected. Trust that you're being prepared. Trust that everything you've been through is preparing you for everything that's coming. And most importantly, trust that the best is yet to come, because it is. Your breakthrough is coming. Your blessing is coming. Your miracle is coming. And it's going to be worth the wait.